Bears! This is Bear Blast, the official podcast of student life at Mott Community College. Whether you're new to campus or have been here for a while, this is your spot to catch up on what's happening, hear real stories from students and staff, and find new ways to get involved. From events and campus tips to student success stories and special guests, we're here to help you make the most of your time at MCC. Let's get started!
Welcome to the Bear Blast podcast. My name is Kennedy, and I'm a student employee in student life here at Mott. I am with you guys today because Alicia sadly couldn't be here to join us, but we are extremely excited about the topic we have here today. A first-year survival guide, tips for navigating college as a first-year student. But before we get into that, I want to introduce today's guest. I'm going to have you guys go around and say your name, major, and graduation date.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm an SPAC member. I'm graduating this May, and my major is baking and pastry arts.
I love that.
Hi there, my name is Avian. I am a student life ambassador, and my major is social work.
Andre Hood, part of SPAC, and just doing my general studies. Planning on graduating next year, 2026.
It's great to have you guys here today.
Good to be here.
For those of you who have been with us before, welcome back, and thank you for joining us on the Bear Blast podcast. And to anyone new joining us, welcome. As I mentioned, our topic today is a first-year survival guide, tips for surviving college as a first-year student. So let's jump into the first question. So to you guys, what was the biggest challenge you faced during your first semester, and how did you overcome it?
I think for me, it was finding where everything is. Even though Mott is a much smaller campus than a lot of the big scale campuses, a lot of it looks the same. So it was really hard for me to find my classes. Even to this day, I still have to write down my class number, my room number, where I find my classes. So a lot of navigation. I went on a lot of tours. And I think before I even started, me and my mom drove up to Mott just to get a lay of the land before any tours or anything, just to try to figure out where everything was. So I get lost pretty easily.
I think my biggest problem was when I had a question about something, anything, I was like, I don't know who to ask. Like, I don't know anybody here, and I'm not sure what everyone's job is, so I just don't know where to go. And so one of the helpful things that I found was either just making friends and everybody not knowing together, and you figure it out, or I've found resources like Student Life or reaching out to my advisor. Sometimes we even have student success coaches here at Mott, so they can direct you for wherever you need to go if they can't help your problem.
My biggest challenge was not understanding the workload. So I would have all these classes, and I guess getting through them and trying to excel and actually get great grades. It was kind of challenging because I guess balancing your prerequisites and understanding what prerequisites are and working closely with your advisor are all different challenges I had my first year, and just learning that you take a challenging class and like 2 classes, maybe that's kind of for the credits. So I think that was probably my biggest challenge.
Definitely. I think for me, as my first semester was last year, I think my biggest issue was honestly being in my own head. For a while, like, this wasn't like my first choice, and so then like I didn't want to be here, and I like tried not to come, and then I realized like you need to make an effort to make college fun for yourself, like in so many different ways. You should try to be involved in campus, try to join clubs, speak to people, and make friends. I didn't realize like how lonely it was when you're like trying to be away from the thing you're a part of.
Yeah.
And I think with like a commuter school, I know a lot of people think of Mott as like a very temporary 2-year college, and then they're going to go off at a big university and it's going to be so much better. I met a lot of people whose mindset was like, I don't need to make friends because I'm only going to be here for a hot minute. But I think that you should really try to experience what you can. And even though it is, I don't want to say a smaller community college and everyone commutes, so it's a little harder for like, I don't know, the party life that a lot of younger students talk about, but it's still so worth putting yourself out there, joining clubs, getting that experience, and this is a stepping stone. It's set up for you to try to learn all of these new things, have these new experiences. So if you do want to go off and do a bigger university or anything like that, or even just in the workforce, you have these experiences so you know how to do different things, a lot of those soft skills, hard skills that everyone talks about, and just learning how to talk to people as well.
Yeah.
Mhm. Definitely. I mean, on to our next question. What resources or campus services have been the most helpful to you as a first year student?
I would say, as Julia said, just working closely with our advisors and success coaches, figuring out who they are. They are advocates for us as students, so they help us navigate, and they can connect us to tutors or any additional help we might need. And they also have the Adult Student Success Center, who's a great navigator as well and advocate for students.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of mine was in student life. My first year here, I was an early college student, so I had taken classes at my high school previously, so I didn't really have a set advisor. So I'd always go to a different advisor when I need classes scheduled, and they wouldn't communicate with each other, which was frustrating. So I know I asked a lot of people who work at student life or closely with student life, like, does my schedule look good? Am I on the right track? So even like trusted professors and stuff, I would talk to them and try to figure things out for myself. But student life opened a lot of doors for me and a lot of opportunities, and even just meeting other people and other administrators here who know things that I don't know. It was really nice to be able to have those connections and form those connections with people.
I think my biggest resource has just been my peers, whether it's people in the same program as me or going to student life and finding other students that are hanging out there or the student workers. If they've been here longer than me, they're going to know more. And so sometimes it's a lot more comfortable to just ask your peers first. Like, hey, do you know what the deal with this is, or how I figure this out, or have you had this same experience that I'm struggling with? And I think not only in terms of accomplishing your degree, but also just like psychologically managing the stress that can come with being a student. Just reaching out to your peers and finding that like match, like they're on the same level, they're feeling the same way, they've had the same problem. That can kind of make you feel better. Like what I'm going through is normal and I'm doing okay. Everything is okay. So I think it's always important to just look around you and see who can be a friend.
Definitely. I also agree that having friends your first semester is a very huge thing. Your friends can lead you to the resources that you may need. They can help you in times of crisis. And it's just overall nice to have a group of people behind you when you're in a new place and a brand new setting. But back to what Andre said earlier, what strategies do you use to manage your time and balance classes, social life, and personal responsibilities?
This one was really hard for me. I like to go out on weekends. I like to hang out with my friends as people do. You got stuff to do, you got errands to run. But I tend to have a heavier workload. So what I have done is all my weekends are spent doing homework for the upcoming week. I try not to do homework at the end of the week. That way I don't have to, I get a lot of anxiety if I have assignments due. But usually I'll hang out with people or do things on weekdays after classes and try to spend those evenings just relaxing and try not to worry about it. So I try to do all my homework early, and that's most of my weekend, but I don't mind it too much. And it helps me feel better about the upcoming week. I know what to expect. I look over all the lectures that are going to be happening, so it helps me feel prepared. And even though it was a little bit sacrifice of like personal time, I just had to learn how to rewrite it to better flow and organize for my school life, because that's a little bit more important.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry. I think that my biggest thing that helped me manage the workload and stay organized was just like Avian said, doing things ahead of time. Even if it's not due tonight, like I want to get it done tonight so I'm not stressed about it, and then it's even harder to accomplish later on at the last minute. So I think just, you have to allot that time to do your homework, because sometimes you don't realize how much work is going to come from a class. You're not just obligated in your time schedule for when that class is happening, but you're also obligated for that homework time. So you have to plan it out. You can't just expect to find that time later, because when you're balancing work and school and friends and, well, I don't feel like doing that today, or I'm tired, I just want to go to bed when I get home, then you might not find that time, and then you're caught at the end struggling. So I think preventing that just by planning ahead is the best thing that helped me.
Definitely.
Yeah, I could say the same. Planning, and it's just understanding that school comes first before anything, and this is what I have to. In order for me to be successful, I have to do my best at school. So if I'm not doing my best in school, then I'm not going to be a great friend. I'm not going to enjoy going out and having fun if I'm not doing good in school.
Definitely.
I also use I use Notion. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but I have like a to-do list and it's all color coded. I have like my classes are color coded. All the times that I'm going to do it is all color coded. I love color coding things, but I find that having a to-do list where I can visualize and I have when it's due, what time it opens, and the day that it opens, so I can try to do it as soon as I possibly can. I like to do it as soon as I can, so then I don't have to worry about it. But having some way of organizing, whether that's a piece of paper, whether it's using an outside app like Notion or anything like that, just having a to-do list and seeing and being able to visualize what's going on in your classes really helps me.
Yeah, I think I like to-do lists a lot too, because if I'm like, okay, I know I have this much time, or maybe I don't know when I'm going to have time, but if I have everything that I need to do written down, then I can say, hey, I have half an hour. I'm going to go look at that list and see if I can get something off of there in this little time I have. Maybe it's going to age me, but I really love the Google Calendar. I think it's so cool. And for me to just be able to open up my phone and click on a day and say, okay, this time I got this going on. Here's a meeting, like here's my club activity. Then I don't have to remember. I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, what's happening tomorrow? Because it's already there for me to reference back whenever I need. So sometimes if I only got 3 hours of sleep and I'm not operating at 100%, I can still look at that calendar and it's got my back. So I love writing things down, and then just to have it on my phone mobile, I don't have to carry a planner or go look at the wall or whatever. It helps me a lot too.
I do the same thing. I love my color-coded Google Calendar. I don't know what I would do without it. And then I also have because you can add different sections. So when classes, I have like different colors for classes, for meetings, for work. And then I also have like a homework one. So if I have like a big final assessment coming up, or I want to start cramming for an exam, I have specific days that I block off and times that I block off with like different colors. So I love color coding. I highly recommend it if you don't do it already. But I really try to fit as much stuff into my day as I can. But it helps being able to visualize and see like when you're busy, when you're not, and try to utilize that time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. So one other question I have for you guys is, at Mott, it's extremely hard to make friends, or it can seem very tedious. So what are some tips on how to make new friends and find a sense of community on campus?
I have a friend, and she's from Nigeria, and she was asking me this same question, and I find it most valuable to come here to student life, where there's many different cultures, and everybody seems to be super friendly, and have the same amount of anxiety when it comes to making new friends, and it's just an icebreaker. Hey, how you doing? I just told her, just say, hey, how you doing? Like, everybody's pretty cool, everybody's pretty friendly, and I think, as Julia was saying, like, is the feeling is kind of mutual when it comes to making new friends and kind of putting yourself out there to actually meet people. I think everybody kind of got that same, like, what do I do? What do I say? But it gets easier, and the more you have classes with people, and the more you go through the whole college experience, the easier it'll get. So just being confident.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's just the easiest way to make friends is just to look up from your phone or from the table or whatever you're doing. Just look around the room and say, hey, how are you, to that person that's in the elevator with you, or standing next to you in line at the coffee shop, or whatever. Just everybody is awkward nowadays, like in person. You're
Not
not
me,
the
though.
only one. Yeah, unless you're real outgoing like Kennedy. She rocks. But I think, don't think too much about it. Like, you're not weird. You're not awkward. Everybody is. It's just, I think everybody wants a friend, and unless you're in a bad mood or going through something, like, most people are going to respond friendly to you if that's what you bring to them. So just try. Just keep trying. You'll find a friend.
And it can be really difficult to put yourself out there and to be perceived as scary, but it's good, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone. One thing that I do to try to break the ice with people is I compliment, whether it's their shirt, whether it's the makeup they got going on, their little outfit or anything like that. I compliment it, and that usually will bring a conversation, and you can start talking about fashion and common interests or hobbies. So I find that to be the easiest way to break the ice. I feel like, hey, how you doing? Not to put that conversation starter down or anything like that. But I feel like that gives you more opportunities to expand the conversation. And I feel like even though we commute all to Mott, people have relatively the same schedule every week. You know, your classmates are typically going to be there every class, things like that as well. People you see in the hallways. So it's kind of easier to be like, these are the people that are here around the same time I am. Try to talk to them, compliment them. You know, as again, what Julie was saying, as long as you put out good energy and you're being nice and friendly, like most people are going to respond the same way. So I think just taking that first leap can be really intimidating, but I think the payoff is completely worth it.
Oh yeah, and I just want to give this piece of advice. If you walk up to somebody and ask them, how much do a polar bear weigh? They're going to say, I don't know. And you're going to say, it's enough to break the ice. Hello, I am so-and-so.
So you always
there's a
got
piece
that
of
one.
advice. Yes.
Yeah.
I will definitely have to agree with Avian on this one. I also work retail, and complimenting customers just makes their entire day, and it makes so many of them smile. And doing the same thing at Mott, like you look at someone and it makes me happy being able to make them smile, and a conversation just flows naturally after that point.
Yes.
Honestly, how I made most of my friends was just talking to the people next to me in class, asking them for help, and then just letting the conversation flow on from there. It was very easy. It was very fun. And just even talking about homework gives you something to talk about.
Yeah, finding that little common interest.
Mm-hmm.
And they're captive if they're in your class. They can't run away from you. So be like, hey.
Yeah, I come back every week.
Yeah. Don't let that make it awkward.
I think the first conversations that anyone has with them is going to be like, hi, what's your major? How are you? But like that, it again breaks the ice and shows the kind of person that you are and if they want to be your friend. And that's great.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, for the next question, how did you guys adjust to the academic expectations and workload in college?
I think it's definitely different than high school. Like, I feel like depending on what school you go to, sometimes you can get your high school homework done in like half an hour or 10 minutes. But college does not play around like that. Like these assignments will take you some hours if they're a big one, and there's no way to get around that. Like, you have to put in that time if you want to get a good grade on it. And you just have to remember, like, you are here because you chose to be here. Like, you want something out of this, and doing your homework is going to help you get something out of it and retain that information. So it's important, even though we don't like it.
Yeah, I think they both said it earlier, like planning and kind of like doing the homework ahead of time, at least 1 week. I had my research paper done 2 weeks in advance.
Ooh.
Just so when I turn it in, he can revise it and I can make those changes and I can be at least one paper ahead, because it's a paper due every 2 weeks. So it's like, if I get behind, then I'm never going to catch up. I feel like in my head, it's kind of like just let me just stay ahead. So
it's that sliding slope. Once you be like, oh, I'll put it off later, then everything gets put off later. It's
so
hard
easy to get buried. It's crazy. You're like, oh, I'm slacking in one class, and then somehow that turns into I'm slacking in all my classes. Yeah. And then you get to the point in the semester where you're like, oh my gosh, can I recover from this?
You almost have to start like picking and choosing which assignments that you have time to do, you know, and that still affects all those zeros add up, you know.
So don't get lax with it. Don't let it slip.
College gets down. She do not play. She do not care about you. She will fail you easy.
Yeah, I had one paper and I thought the due date, it's important to look at your syllabus too, guys. You can plan and prepare. Make sure you go back and look at that syllabus and make sure that your due dates are all lined up. And one of my grades, the teacher would not give me a credit for it, one of my papers, because I thought it was due on, I had it done. I turned it in early, but I had to turn it back in again as the final. It was a draft that I turned in as a final. So I didn't know I had to turn it back in. I said, I already turned it in. He said, no, you didn't. I said, I turned it in as a draft. And so it's important just to make sure you understand your teachers and how they work, the workload, and just doing everything the way they want you to do it as a student.
Yeah, going off of that, it's important to communicate with your professors. If you're sick, if you have life happens and you need to communicate accordingly, they'll usually cut you some slack and they'll usually make extensions, make accommodation. If anything, they'll be like, I'm so sorry that's going on. What can I do? Everyone here is very kind, very understanding, because we've all been through hard times and hard situations. And again, that slippery slope of once everything starts slipping, a lot of stuff can get mixed in, So it's important to communicate accordingly and to plan. And while it sucks and no one really wants to do their homework, it's really important to try to stay on top of it the best you can. That way you can learn the most you can.
Yeah, definitely. I have been saved pretty much by the bell so many times. Even recently, I think last Friday I was laying in my bed and I was looking at the date and I'm like, this date, it looks important. And then I get on my computer and I see, oh my gosh, I have an assignment due for my class that started this Monday. Oh no, if I didn't even was just randomly staring at the date, I would have missed the first assignment of the class.
Mm-hmm.
Booked.
That happened to me one time. I had an online class. I totally missed an exam. He didn't post like a announcement, and I really relied on those announcements. This happened to me my first year.
Oh mercy.
And and he only had like 4 assignments in the class, and one of them was like the exam. So I was like,
Oh.
But I recovered. It was fine. I pleaded with him, please let me redo it, even for half credit. So he was so nice to me. He should not have let me do that. But yeah, it was funny though.
Syllabus is the holy grail.
Yes.
Refer back to it. They
Yes.
don't. If a professor doesn't want to be compassionate, they don't have to be. Like, they gave you that syllabus and you got to use it.
Yeah, my professor didn't have no grace with me.
Yeah.
So
College gets down. She do not play. She did not care about your grade.
just stay on top of it, be responsible, and just understand that this is it's a serious. It's important to have a balance and have fun and have be at ease when you're doing these assignments. It's not all like serious, but when it comes to due dates, yes.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
definitely
Absolutely. So, next question is, was there anything that surprised you about college life that you didn't expect?
It's kind of like TV. I thought
Yes,
I
it
always
is.
thought that it was like, I'm like I see like what Legally Blonde and everything where everyone's just hanging out and they're all sitting on the grass, and I sat on the grass one time with a group of friends and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like the poster child. I'm like in the pamphlet. It's real. But a lot of like, and of course like movies are exaggerated, it's very Hollywoodized, but like I think just like the community, the hard times, and like even like hearing stories from my mom who went to college and like my other relatives and stuff like that as well, like yeah, it still holds up. And I think like I don't know, I don't want to say in this day and age technology is crazy, and like it being in some online classes gives so many more opportunities, but I think that also surprised me with how many online opportunities. I'm like, if I really wanted to, I wouldn't have to show up to class and I could have just did on my computer, but I wanted to have new experiences, make new friends and stuff like that as well too. So it's funny though.
Yeah, I was just surprised at how much of a community it is. There are those students. I feel like there's 2 types of students. There's the people that show up and go to class and go home. And then there's the students that are here on campus all day. And, they're taking their classes and they're doing clubs and they're going to these events. And, like, if you're one of those students or you have a gap between your classes and you start talking to people, like, it's amazing who you can meet and what kind of stuff you can find out that your school offers. Whether it's we have Tasty Tuesdays here where you can get free food, or, you can meet the president and have coffee with her. We like to see the opportunities, even just to be on this podcast. Like, when I started college, I never thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on a podcast. Like, that's crazy. Just the opportunities that you can find, and the people, especially here in Flint, like, we have such a diverse campus. You can find young students and old students and everybody in between. Like, the wide range of life experiences that everybody around you has. Like, if you can find the time to sit down and talk with people, you can learn so much just from what they've gone through. Or you say, oh my gosh, your life is the same as mine, or your life is so different. Like, that's so interesting. I just love people and getting to know them and getting to be around all these people here. Like, I'm thriving. I love it so much. I think everybody's just so interesting, and there's a lot of friendly people here at Mott.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a big college, but it gets smaller and smaller as you go, and like you get to know everybody, you get to know people, and it's like lifelong. Like, people graduate and they go into their professions, and they're at the dentist's office or they're at the doctor's office and you know them from school. It's just like it's good to have like a personal relationship with everybody around you and just being super friendly. And it's I think how friendly everyone is in the student life, it just makes it a lot easier. And I've always gravitated to her just coming in. If didn't have nothing to do, I would just come in, say hey to everybody, and just sit down for a little while, maybe draw something or study. But I think it's super cool to just have that type of friendship or that type of element at a college. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah. So thank you, student life.
Thank you, student life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, next question. How did you handle homesickness or adjusting to be away from family and familiar surroundings?
I make new family here. Come to student life. That's what I'm saying.
It's turning into an
It's a whole
advertisement for student
Yeah,
life.
it's just a
See,
wandering ad.
so I joined the group. So I'm a part of SPAC, and I'm a part of the Black Student Union, and I'm a part of the Adult Student Success Center, which is like very, very diverse, all different types of groups of people, and we all share same common interests. It's amazing. It's like it's people that you find here that will support you and can advocate for you better than your family can in some areas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's what helped me.
I love that even when you're a kid, when you come to school, like you get to be your own self. Like I know everybody misses their family, and obviously it can be hard to find time to spend with them when you start college. But having that opportunity to join the organizations that you're interested in and find people with common interests, like you really do, I feel like, build a second family here. And they can support you if you can't see your family or you can't spend time with them. Like they can kind of help get you through the day until you get to go back home. So I think I just love that that's an option here. And you get to, you're preparing for your own life. Like it's your time to make your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to remember, like, you're here for you. And
Mhm.
you get to be independent. Like, use your time how you want to use it.
And I think it's just nice because, like you said, Julia, it is like a commuter college. So at the end of the day, I'm still going home. I'm petting my rabbit. I'm going to say hi to my mom. But it is important, I think, to have a support system wherever you go. And I know, like, my college self and my home self are different, and I feel like at college I'm a lot more extroverted. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I say hi to pretty much every single person that will talk to me. But at home, I'm a lot more reserved, a lot more quiet, so... And I think it is important, like, I'm so happy that I get to text my parents, like, throughout the day and be like, this is what's going on. Here's a picture of my lunch,
Mhm.
And I think that, like, with schoolwork and regular work and all these other stuff, clubs that you're balancing, it's important to stay connected with your family and with your friends from home as well. So I am lucky that, like, I don't think I could dorm. I really don't think that I could. I would get too homesick, It is important to stay connected with your home and the people surrounding your home and your people,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, for you guys' next question, what mistakes did you make that you learned from, and what would you do differently?
I didn't know how to drop classes.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Yeah. So and I was too embarrassed to tell anybody.
Oh.
Oh.
And cause yeah, I was college illiterate
Mhm.
my first few years. So I received zeros for those classes. And yeah. Talk to your advisors. Make sure you understand that how to drop classes if something comes up where you can't complete it, or if things don't go the right way in your life and things are going. Figure out how to drop classes, figure out the last day to drop classes, what you have to do, and just be educated and don't feel embarrassed about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you said it perfect, like college illiterate. There is a whole system to learn about, like, well, how do I register for classes? How do I make sure these are the ones I'm supposed to be taking? What happens if I took on too much? Obviously it's my first year. I didn't know. And so you got to have those resources, or you have to ask for help so that you don't get stuck in a bad situation. Like everyone has these problems because college is its own thing to learn. And so I just think reaching out more in any way my first year would have helped a lot in terms of like either feeling isolated or just feeling confused about the whole situation. Like, is this right for me? Like, what am I doing here? Am I doing the right thing? You know, am I being productive towards my goal for being here? So,
Yeah. I would say watch your credit load. I kind of have like, oh, I can do it. I can do 16 credits. I can do 18 credits.
Ah.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
you will
Sit
find
back
your
down.
limits in
Yes,
college.
You'll definitely find your limits. But I think start small. Start with 12, 14 credits. And if you feel confident, build up from there. I know a lot of different classes demand different things, different professors. There are some classes that I have a homework assignment maybe once a month. Some I have 4 to 5 per week. So it really depends on the professor, the kind of major that you're majoring in. So really know your limits, be realistic with the amount of time that you have. If you're working full time, if you got people to support, you know, you're going to want to start small before you build up. So just be mindful of your limits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can always ask your professors too, especially if they're in like a class for your major. Like I could go to the culinary professor and say, hey, do you think it'd be too much to take these classes at once? Or like how much homework should I expect for this specific class? Like if your advisor isn't in your major specifically, maybe ask your teachers like what they think, because I'm sure they would be willing to give advice. They want you to succeed too.
Definitely. I think for me, I am sadly just a little bit hard-headed. And I decided, I'm going to plan all my classes and not talk to my advisor. And then I was told recently that I took a class that I didn't need to take. It was just a little bit under what I should have been taking. It was like 107 compared to a 111.
Oh man.
I think it will still count as a biology credit towards my major, thankfully. But now I know I need to look more deeply into what classes I need to be taking, talking to my advisor and making sure that I'm in the classes that, yes, I want and that will only go like towards my major and not classes that I don't need to be taking.
Yeah, don't be afraid to double check.
Yeah. I know I've taken 1 or 2 classes that like were counted as elective. And I was like, I thought they would count for humanities or whatever. So double check. You know, you might think that you know, but unfortunately the counselors do know more than you and they're here to help you. So
Yeah, don't let the fear of not knowing stop you from asking.
Yeah.
Everybody's here for you.
Definitely. And this is kind of random, but one issue I have is like with Mott and transferring, you can only do so many classes and then transfer so many. I want to take all my science classes here. I want to do all my math classes here. And I want to do all these classes I can, but I can only take so many with me because most schools have a max. So it can be a little bit frustrating. Like I want to do everything here because I love the science here, but can't do it.
Yeah, I feel like it's always better to know more than you need to instead of less. You know, ask your questions and just double check everything, because maybe there's rules like that you didn't know about and you wouldn't have known about, you know, unless you talk to that specific advisor or however it works out.
Okay, guys. So what is one piece of advice you would give to an incoming first year?
Find a list or a place that will explain to you all the resources on campus, because there's probably more things offered than you realize. You know, we have the student success centers, we have financial aid offices, there's programs at the library, you know, we have the family life center, we have food pantries, outfits for interviews, bus passes. Like they might offer something that would help you and you wouldn't even know about it unless you looked for it.
I would say understand your expectations and then exceed them. Just go above and beyond. Like they were saying, plan ahead and do your assignments ahead. Don't let yourself get behind and just do good. Just do better than good. Just do over the top. It'll serve you in life as well as school.
Mine is to be kind. Be kind to yourself, and importantly, be kind to others. It can be really easy to get self-critical, to have all these expectations that you can't fit for yourself, you know? So it's important to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and that will take you really far.
I think mine's is honestly walk around campus, get used to it, and just try to find a space where people are and just exist there. Somebody's going to come up and talk to you. So for our last question, what has been your favorite experience or memory from your first year so far?
That's a good one.
That is really hard.
We went to the African American Museum in Detroit with Student Life, and that was really, 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 really like really cool. We had dinner afterwards. The food was good. It was just very informal, and I love history. I love art. I love architecture. I love food. It was all of that in one. So
Cool.
so it was just a good experience. That was probably my favorite experience other than being a part of SPAC.
This happened my second semester of my first year, but it was still in my first year, so I'm counting it. But I was a part of the Mott Campus Clowns, and I got to travel to Philadelphia. I got to do shows for boys and girls clubs, elementary schools, St. Patrick's Day parades, and like I've never really traveled before, so that was amazing. And just finding out all the different clubs and things and experiences that you can do through Mott is incredible, and I'm so thankful for that opportunity.
My favorite experience, this is kind of major specific, but I'm a baking and pastry major, so getting to be in the culinary building, Mott has their own separate building that we're absolutely blessed to have with these big kitchens and all this expensive equipment. Like, you just feel like a kid in a candy store. You're like, oh my gosh, like how many opportunities am I going to have to be in the room with 15 other chefs all making their own recipes at the same time? Like, I think being in the food industry, you kind of love that chaos in the kitchen. And that's like times 10, especially the first couple of weeks. Everybody's so confused and lost and stressed. But I love it. I love that we're just having that chaos together. And there's so many people like doing all these things at once. And we're in the big shiny kitchen and we're all in our chef coats. Like, I don't know. I just felt like, oh my gosh, this is my place to be. Like, I'm so happy I'm here. And I just feel lucky to be around these people that want the same thing as me. Like, I've had so many friends from the culinary program, and just based off of that one mutual interest, like, I've gained so many friends, and just to get to spend that time with people in the industry has been crazy beneficial.
I have had a lot of great experiences, mainly just me laughing with my friends and the people that I've met. But recently, I'd have to say it was going up to U of M through the STEM Scholars program at Mott that I'm in, and meeting so many people who are like me and think like me, and they are all like science STEM majors working towards a goal. Many of these people researching like I am, going into PhDs like I want to, and it's inspiring to see these people, meet them, hear their stories, and be able to like network with them and learn from their experiences.
Yeah, motivation.
Heavy motivation.
Find your people.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like sometimes you get to be in the right spot. Because I am a transfer student. I was originally an education major, and then I transferred over, and it was so funny because in that very first semester of my transfer, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in the right place. Like, these are my people. We're all on the same page. And when you have that feeling of like, oh, I got it right, like, I'm supposed to be here, is amazing. So I hope lots of people get to have that here at Mott.
It truly is. Okay, and that will do it for our podcast today. This has been a great podcast. I appreciate all of you guys' valuable input. Thank you, Avian. Thank you, Julia.
Andre.
And thank you, Andre.
Yeah. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Thank you guys for listening in. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to answer them. And if you want more content from the Bear Blast podcast, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
And that is it for this episode of Bear Blast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to follow us so you're always in the know about what's happening at Mott. And for even more Bear content, check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Just search for MCC Student Life. Until next time, go Bears!